Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know this video isn't one that's probably a lot of people's taste and you're probably going to find it boring, so I'm really sorry if you do. I'm doing how many books I've read this January, or this year I guess, and I think this looks like so many books, but I've literally sold most of the books that I've read. Like, I've really read a lot. I don't know what got me into reading this year, to be honest. It's like something just clicked and I was like, I've got to read so much this year for everything that I've not read last year and the year before. Because in 2020, I did not pick up a single book, like genuinely. So the first book that got me back into reading was The Silent Patient. And I loved this book so much. However, it was kind of slow to start. I have sold this book now, so I've not got it in person. It's basically about a therapist and a patient, and they're like, how do I explain this without spoiling it? See, this book's so hard to make sound interesting because it all changes at the end, and that's what makes it interesting. But it's really hard to get people to want to read it if I can't explain it. But basically, there's just a huge plot twist and it's really interesting, and I really recommend that you watch it. Like, when I read it, my jaw just dropped. Like, you know, you have to put a book down and just have a moment to digest it. It was literally one of them moments. Okay, the second book I read this year, which I've also not got in person so I saw it on again, was Ready Player One. And this book, I nearly stopped reading it because of the start of it, because the first few chapters, it was like so many, I think it's 80s, it was so many 80s like video game terms and stuff I just didn't understand, that I found that I was like skim reading it all. Like, I was just kind of trying to get to the main part. But then once I got to the main part of the book, I did really enjoy it. And I know they're bringing out a Ready Player 2 as well, but I think that's only just come out. Because I tried to buy it the other day and it's like really expensive. And I get all my books secondhand from Depop. I love a secondhand book. And I know that there's other people that prefer audiobooks or like reading on a Kindle or something, but I love having the book in my hand and like turning the page and being able to see where I am in the book. I'm such a nerd. I feel like I should say this at the start. My favourite books to read are like dystopian, young adult sort of books, so you'll see a lot of them in January. So yeah, Ready Player One is it's the Oasis, and it's like the whole world has kind of gone on the internet. You have like a headset, and James Halliday, I think the creator was called, he basically put an Easter egg into this whole world. And I mean, like, school's online, you meet friends online, everything is online, but like you live in the online virtual reality, that's what I'm trying to say. So he died, and then he made this challenge to find the Easter egg, and obviously you've got the big companies trying to like win the Easter egg, because whoever gets the Easter egg gets his whole like fortune. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and I will be reading the second book. Also, I wanted to say that the books I read this year, like, they weren't all thin. Like, the one that I'm going to show you now is kind of thin, but like, they were quite decent sized books, I'd say. The next book I actually do have in person, because no one's brought it up yet, is The Giver, and it's about a boy called Jonas, and everyone lives in like a perfect world where they don't know any of the bad things that have been going on, and when you're younger, you get given a job that you're going to do when you're older, and then he gets given his job, which is a little bit different than other people's, and it's just really interesting. However, I didn't like the ending to this book that much. Like, it felt like it was all building up a lot, and I didn't really understand what happened at the end. Like, it was kind of like, it went up and then it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't regret reading it, but like, I think the ending could have been better. Okay, the next 3 books that I read were a series, and these were thick. Like, I don't know how I read this much in January. It was a Scythe series, and I read this book thinking it was pronounced scythe the whole time, and that's really embarrassing. Then someone had to tell me that it wasn't when I was talking about the book, and I was like, oh, okay. They're really thick books. Basically, humanity has conquered death. You don't die of old age, you don't die of diseases, you know, natural disasters. Death is just gone. So there's a group of people called scythes who they go around and they glean people, so they kill them. And one of the most noble scythes, he picks 2 apprentices to kind of come up and join. And it's just so interesting because you've got 2 different groups of scythes who kind of go against each other. One's very moral, very, you know, quick gleanings, and you've got the other group who's kind of like mass murders. And obviously, because it's like dystopian, it's definitely down my street. And I really recommend reading these books if you're into that kind of stuff. Like, if it sounds interesting to you, at least read the first one. This next book is, I didn't sleep. Like, I was so scared. It's not meant to be a horror book, it's only meant to be a thriller, but I can't deal with horror at all. Like, it terrifies me. So in this book, NASA send 3 students up into space because they want more funding, and then there's some paranormal stuff that goes on in space, but there would be like a jump scare in the book and it would scare me. Like I'd have to put the book down and be like, no, that's too scary for me. Like how pathetic is that? I'm never gonna read a horror book. I might try, but it's scared. Like it got to the point where it was getting really scary and I had to like read a chapter, not even a chapter, I read a page and then put it down. I had to like digest it and take it in. And I really like the ending to this book as well. I just thought, it's just really interesting. So I'd recommend reading it. Okay, so this next book was actually recommended to me by someone and it's The Humans by Matt Haig. And basically, humans are starting to become too evolved on Earth and they've discovered something big about prime numbers, I think it was. And they're not meant to know that. So somewhere out in space, they send an alien down to come and kill the person who has discovered this so it doesn't get out to the rest of humanity. But then when the alien comes down, it's kind of like how he's learning what humans do and like why humans do certain things. And he starts to like it on Earth. I really liked this book because it made me like question why we do what we do. Like it makes you question why humans do what humans do. Like so many things sounded completely pointless. And this book looks quite thin. Like it doesn't look that big. It's got about 300 pages, but when I opened it, the amount of words on a page, I don't know if that looks like a lot to you, but the writing is so small. Okay, obviously there's a list on that side, but ignore that. Like, look at that. Anyway, it took me a long time to get into. I powered through it, but I think this is a really interesting book. Okay, and the next lot of books that I read, and this is the last lot of books that I read in January, is the Selection series by Kira Cass. I think that's how you say her name. And I'm fully aware that this sounds weird, and I wasn't sure about reading them at the start, but I actually really got into them. So the first 3 books, the Selection, The One and The Elite, is about a girl called America. It's kind of like The Bachelor, but with royalty. So it's how the upcoming king, so the prince, finds a wife. She doesn't want to go in it, but her family make her, and she's got a love interest at home, but then she kind of starts to fall for Maxon. Maxon's the king, and it's just really interesting. There's also like levels in society where people can be, and she's a really low level, she's a level 5, and her goes down to level 8, I think. And then these last 2 books, I think they're good. I don't know if like they needed to be added on, like they're still a good book, but I don't know. Basically, it's Max and America's daughter, and she ends up having her own selection where she invites 35 men in. One reason I liked these books though is because I rooted for this one person the whole way through and they ended up winning, and like I didn't think they would, so that was really good. So overall I did like this series a lot. I don't know if the last 2 needed to be added, but if you did really enjoy the first 3, I'd recommend reading them. I just wanted to add to this video that all of these books are for sale on my depop if anyone actually does want to read them. And they are really good quality as well, like, you know, they're in perfect quality. And I'll link my depop down below if anyone actually does want to buy them. I don't think I'm going to read as much in February because I've just started a huge book. Like, it's just so tall, so wide, and it's taken me a little while to get through it, and it's nearly mid-February as well, and I haven't even finished one book. So maybe when I post this next video next month, it's not going to be as long. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you've got any books that you want me to read, put them in the comments and I will read them. I will get around to reading them. But yeah, see you next Friday. Bye!